Okay.
So thanks, guys, for coming in today. We're on the Revamp Project podcast. I got Courtney and Brittany, and you guys just recently did your first flip. I want to dive into that, talk all about it and everything, ask you guys some questions. And just so the audience has a little bit of backstory, you're both real estate professionals, right? You're both agents.
Yes.
You're both with EXP. You've been in the industry for like 3 to 4 years or so. Mm-hmm. And now you just got into tackling your first flip. So I want to unravel that and see what it took to get there, what your thoughts were, how you did it. Anything that you think that you would do differently or anything like that. I want to unpackage all of it. But first, thanks for coming, sitting down and having a conversation about it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
we're really excited.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So I guess let's do it like this. So since I want to give some backstory on both of you guys, how do you feel about kind of just giving a little bit of an intro into how you made your entry into real estate? Like, what were you doing before 4 years ago? You want to go first?
Sure. Well, my name is Courtney Carrozza. I am a realtor with EXP Realty and Media. Before I joined real estate, I worked in hospitality for 15 years. So I worked my way up the ranks, like serving, bartending, supervisor, manager, and then I ended up starting to open a hotel, and then moved to another hotel in Center City, and then during COVID, that hotel unfortunately ended up closing. So I was bored out of my mind at home. Somebody who always worked like 60 hours a week, I'm just sitting there. So obviously I got into at that point, I got in great shape because I had nothing else to do. And I was like, all right, I really got to figure something out. So I was like, I'll take real estate classes. It's something I always wanted to do, but I never had time to go back to school or anything like that. So I started taking my real estate classes just as a backup plan. And my business partner, Samantha Simmons, told me, she's like, you should do this full time. You'll be amazing. But I'm like, it's funny because we're talking about doing flips. I'm really not a risk taker by nature. So I was like, I don't know. I need to steady income. But then when my hotel officially closed for good, I was like, well, plan B is going to become plan A. So I just started sitting there 80 hours a week trying to learn as much as I possibly could. I knew I needed to get busy right away. And I actually had 2 different couples trust me in this market to buy and sell at the same time. And I was scared, terrified. I was like, oh my God, these people are going to end up on the street. Hopefully not. But so that went well. And then just from there, it's gotten busier and busier. And then from there, I met Brittany. And we were really good friends. And we decided that we wanted to start getting into some investments together. So here we are.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. So real quick on that, you said your friend Sam kind of helped you get into it and everything. You said you were already partners at that time though?
She was mentoring me when I first started. And then we had this vision we started our brand, the Delco Homegirls, and we really wanted to have a brand that was based upon positivity and just really have fun with it, and showing people that we're genuinely caring people that also just happen to sell real estate. So we really wanted to give and she also came from sales roles, things of that nature. She always worked in customer service. So we wanted to bring that as our whole, thing that our brand was based upon. So we decided to form this partnership and do events together, and things like that. So now that's actually evolving. We brought in our third partner, Brittany, and she's she's from Philadelphia, specializes in that area. So we are changing our brand to the Homegirls group, and we're gonna have aces in all different places. So we got you wherever you need to go in the whole world. So yeah,
hell yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So what about you, Brittany? How'd you make your entry?
So I took my real estate courses probably 3 years prior before I ever went to take the real estate test. So I took my courses. I was at a place in my life where I just felt like I was at a dead end. I worked at Jefferson for 10 years as an endoscopy tech, and I still work there per diem. I really like what I do, but it just wasn't enough. I didn't feel like I had enough control of where my life would be heading. So I I decided to take real estate courses. I was always interested in it. When I was like 20 years old, I bought a duplex and I loved it. But at that time, I just needed like financial security, so I couldn't do anything risky. I was just like about like, I'm going to survive and I'm going to make it, So I worked a 9 to 5, and that was probably a bad idea. I should have got my real estate license back then. And then I got to a point in my life, I was like done having kids, and I was like, now I'm going to like take care of me. I'm going to do what I want to do. So I went back, I took like a refresher course, I got my license, and then COVID hit. And it was honestly like the best thing that could have happened to my career, because I couldn't do anything but like really study, and not study, just like network. And they had like endless Zoom meetings, and like you could hear from, like mega agents and everything that they were doing, they were telling all. So I would like listen to everything, listen to all these podcasts. And then I just started like implementing everything that I learned, and like my business took off, and it was great. So I was still working like pretty full-time hours, and then I just like cut back pretty drastically this year and just work per diem. And then I always knew like I wanted to like invest and like flip houses, but I was always like really scared. Like, I don't have a ton of money. I have a lot of responsibility. Like, how am I going to get myself to do this? And then I think just being in real estate, like helping people get over their fears and helping investors buy places and seeing like, oh my God, this is not impossible at all. You just like literally need to do it. So I think it like gave me the courage to just be like, it's only money. Like, if I need to, whatever, what's the worst that could happen? Really? Absolutely. Like, it's money. It's not your health. It's money. So,
That's true.
So then I was friends with Courtney and Sam, and I like doing stuff with people, so I'm like, I will definitely do it if I can get like people to do it with me. So I think we were talking one day, and I was like, you want to like flip a house? Like, let's do it together. Like,
How long
whatever.
ago was this that
Oh,
you
God.
started talking
It
about
was like this year.
Okay.
Like
it was
4 months
like,
ago.
Yeah, it was like a month or two before
That's
we bought the
fantastic.
flip.
That's taking action.
Yeah,
That's
I gotta
taking
tell you,
action.
I knew before I even said it, I was like, Courtney will definitely be down. Like, Courtney will.
That's awesome.
Which I don't know why you would think that, because I'm literally so scared of literally everything. But we were like, we gotta come up with a really fun name, like.
Yeah.
So it was actually like Two Flippin' Girls LLC, and then we told Sam about it. She's like, why would it be a flippin' girl? So we're like, the more the merrier. So then 3 Flippin' Girls with a PH, like, because we're in the Philadelphia area, obviously. If the people don't get it, if people keep calling us 3 Filipino girls. There's nothing wrong with being 3 Filipino girls. We're just not. That's just not what we are. We're flippin' girls. So it's just something catchy, and people just like get so excited like when we post stuff, which is cool.
Yeah, it's so
like
awesome.
all the people that that we're friends, like our friends and family and everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's like.
Yeah. I
Am
think
I allowed to
it's
say badass?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think like a lot of people like it, I don't know, they'll look at me and they'll be like, oh my God, like Brittany can do it. I can definitely do it.
Yeah.
What is she doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
no.
we were very fortunate. Like, it was so weird. Like, so I met her through Sam. Sam just happened to co-op with her on a transaction. And then I listed a house in Springfield, and I met this guy, Lou Faris. Hi, Lou. He's our partner on our first flip. And
Okay, Lou's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, so you know Lou?
I know Lou,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a good guy. So he was, I met him just because I was asking him about things he had under contract to see if he would tell me, like, what he was under contract for to help with my appraisal for my listing. And he was like, he told me, and I was like, thanks, some agents don't even call you back. And he's like, oh, this business would be, like, a lot better if we all just helped each other. And I was like, I totally agree. So we're like, kind of like
There was just
became
like that
friends.
synergy.
Yeah. And then I met her, and then she's like, oh, I know Lou. I'm like, well, this is weird. So then together we started like just talking, and he was like happy to mentor us. Like, we went and had lunch. He's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we had lunch. We like thought about it. We went and saw a couple of things, and then the condo just kind of fell into, actually, like, Brittany was the one that decided it would be a good first opportunity.
Yeah, it was Sam she was listing it, and they kind of wanted to just like not really do any renovations or any repairs and just like kind of unload it. And it needed some, work. It wouldn't sell to like, a regular home buyer. So, sorry, Evan. I was taking one of Sam's investors through there. Who probably hates me now. But
Hey, Evan.
Why? What happened with Evan?
No, so then I
So you
took
were
Evan
taking him through, like, as a
and I
client
called
of
Sam
yours?
and I was like, Sam, I want this, and she was like, well, so does Evan, and I was like, all right, well, I'm still putting in an offer. Like,
Yeah, so
let's
we
see.
both offered, and then they ended up going with our offer,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Maybe we
which
could
is kind of
delete
awkward.
that.
So
No, that's not that awkward. That's not that awkward.
Oh my god.
It's like, I'm sure it's because Evan's offer was for pennies on the dollar.
Well, I am trying to get Evan a deal because I feel like I owe Evan one, so I'll find him one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's cool, though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I was like, oh my God, this would be like such a great opportunity because it was a condo. It's not too much. You know what I mean? And like cosmetically, it needed to be redone, some plumbing issues. But it wasn't going to be anything that I felt like we couldn't handle or something that would
we didn't want to get into termite damage, structural issues.
Sure.
Like we didn't want to,
Yeah.
like a whole full rewire, like for a first deal. Like,
Sure.
We want to make sure that we can line up contractors and everything like that before we like really get into like, more profitable.
A giant
If
project.
we're like, if we don't lose money on this, like we're good. Like you're getting some experience from somebody that knows what they're talking about. And as much as like we disagree with them, we have to like sit back sometimes and think like, he knows what he's talking about, and we just want it to be pretty. So
Yep. And I love that philosophy, that perspective. Like we could go deep down that rabbit hole because so many people that I meet with that are like, yeah, I want to buy my first flip. I want to buy my first rental. And they have these like made up fairy tale numbers in their mind. They're like, I need to make $50,000 on my first deal. It's like, dude, I do a lot of deals today that I don't make nearly that on. And yes, my mindset absolutely was and still is today. Like there's other value to a deal than just being able to be profitable on it. Like if you can get into a deal and you can learn and be alongside somebody that's going to hold your hand through it and everything,
Right.
even if you don't make a whole hell of a lot of money, it's like that's setting you up for, massive success in the future, right?
Yeah.
That's massive. So that's a really important mindset. Like I love that.
Yeah.
yeah, we it was definitely a great opportunity to not
Yeah.
pass up being able to be like guided through it,
Yeah.
and also for us to, even like pick things out. Like I thought we did a nice job with like the way that it turned out. Like without like we don't think that we over improved it. Like
Okay.
but it definitely looks like completely different and so nice compared to like what it was. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah.
We'll get into all that. We'll talk about all that, but I want to go back, right? So you said when you were younger, you bought a duplex.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. How'd that happen?
Yeah, so I was it was like 2008 2008. I was a single mom and I was renting and I was like, and I worked, so like I had a job, I had income, and I knew nothing, but I was like, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna buy a duplex. I'm gonna get rent. It's gonna cover majority of my mortgage, and I'm gonna live in the other unit. And I did that for like I think I lived there maybe probably like three years actually.
Okay.
Not that long. Yeah, because my son was 5 when we moved to South Philly. So yeah, we were probably there about 3 years, and then I bought a house with my husband in South Philly, and then I just completely rented that out. And I was pregnant, and I was feeling like stressed about money, and I really knew nothing. And I sold it, and it's like one of my biggest regrets.
Really?
I definitely did not need to sell it. I had tons of equity in the house, and it was making great money. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my God. But it's okay. I'll get there again. It's all right. Live and learn. Don't ever make any decisions when you're pregnant and hormonal and you're feeling stressed. That's absolutely not And my husband's a totally different person. Like, he's just completely fine with like working a 9 to 5, going to work and just being like, okay. And of course he's like, yeah, this thing's a headache. Like, sell it. I had some bad tenants. I hired a property manager for one property, which was the worst decision because all he did was call me about everything anyway. And then I was like,
so he wasn't even handling anything.
no,
He just kinda
I hired
relayed
a really
messages
bad
right to
one.
you?
Yeah,
God,
I hired he was not, I shouldn't call him a property manager. I think I may have probably only been his only property.
All right.
And he was really bad at it. So whatever, I wound up selling it, and if you don't invest your money, you just spend it. So
That's the
I
truth.
spent it.
Yep.
Yeah, so I just spent it. It's like one of my biggest regrets, but I plan on doing the same. Hopefully picking up some rental properties as well, and just like keep scaling. I've learned a lot over the years. And
So what year was it that you sold that? You said you bought it in 08.
when was I pregnant with my daughter? 2013,
Okay.
2014.
Got it.
Yeah.
So even like buying in 2008, like you didn't.
I still made
like-
money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Even though values were up and everything.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, not so. Yeah, I bought it for. What did I wound up walking away with like 40,000. I think I bought it for like. Oh God, maybe 205. I actually, I didn't
So you
sell
bought
it.
well though, like you weren't like
Yeah.
at the height of everything, like at the top of the bubble or anything.
I didn't make a ton of. I didn't. No, actually, I had equity because I was getting rents and I was paying it down. I didn't sell it that much higher.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because it. Yeah, now
makes
that I
sense,
remember.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's why I had equity, because I was using the rent and paying it down.
Got it.
So I wound up walking away with 40,000, but I really didn't sell it for much more than I bought it for, because I did buy it at the height of the market. But now I look at those properties, and that property, if I could get it for 350, I buy it now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's why I'm like kicking myself for that one. But it's
Yeah,
okay.
That's one of the biggest things about rentals that I talk to people all the time, like people that do only own one rental property or whatever. And they're like, literally everything went wrong. Like it was the worst property, worst deal, but I've owned it for 10 years. I've dealt with every issue that you could imagine. I bought way too high and I still made $100,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, you can't always say the same about flips, but you can pretty much make a blanket statement and say with most rentals, as long as you're not totally crazy on your numbers and everything, like if you hold it for long enough and do a decent job managing, you're going to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, that really kept me afloat and made me be able to afford to live for many years, when I was just like one income. So I wasn't making much money. And I think I was getting like $800 in rent. And then I was paying $400. So I was paying $400 a month for rent for a 2-bedroom in the Northeast, like in like a nice area, it was in Rawhurst.
Okay.
So it was like a corner lot. It had like a lot of, it had side yard, not a lot of land. That's land for me because now I live in South Philly, so it had a lot of land. That's not really land.
5,000 square foot parcel.
Yeah, but no, it was a great property, and it was a really smart decision. The dumb decision was selling it because I had a couple bad tenants.
How long after you sold it do you feel like you regretted it? Was it like an instant thing or like 5
like 2
years
years
later?
later.
2 years later? Okay.
Yeah, because I just had to get through a rough patch. But whatever, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool though. That's very cool. But where do you think you got the idea? Because I know you mentioned like listening to podcasts and stuff like that. Do you think you got that idea from
when I was younger?
a book or yeah?
No. I was just like, I was renting and I was like, I'm just going to try and buy something and I'm going to buy a duplex. Like no idea at all. Like no thought behind
so
it.
cool.
Nothing. I knew
It wasn't
absolutely
even
nothing.
advice you heard from a friend or anything. It was just
No,
like, I'm gonna
nobody
buy
around me
something
had
'cause this
any
makes
money.
sense.
Nobody told me anything.
That's so cool though.
No. Yeah. No. Just No, but it really was a blessing in disguise, honestly. Yeah, and it was 2008, so they were giving mortgages to everybody, including me making like $12 an hour.
It worked out.
There you go.
Worked out, right? Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. All right, so fast forward, right? You both make your entry into real estate, and you both get licensed and everything, like beginning of COVID. So I know, Courtney, you mentioned like your first couple of clients and everything, and kind of being terrified and all that. Like, after you got through your first couple, like, what was your perspective? Like, what did you know what you wanted to do? Like, did you have an idea? I want to be able to sell 30 homes a year, or did you have any goals, aspirations?
Yeah, I mean, my goal is just to always to been to, to grow every year. And I mean, my goal for this year was to do 10 million. Now, I'd rather shoot for the stars and, fall a little bit lower. So if I end up like 7 or 8, I'll still be happy.
Okay.
But it's really, I mean, my goal is to just get busier and busier. I mean, I don't really think that there's like a limit to like what I can do. I just keep putting myself out there consistently. After I got my first couple of clients, like, and the rust was like dusted off, I was like, all right, like I can really do this. And people really started to trust me because they weren't the first ones, I think. So, but yeah, I mean, and it's, I want to keep just growing and, doing more, hopefully being able to, I mean, I think I'd like to buy like vacation rentals in like the Jersey Shore area as opposed to like rentals up here with like longer term tenants. But like that's my long term goal.
Okay.
So and then a place for myself down there, of course.
Of course.
The
Of
American
course.
dream, the Delco dream.
I love it. I love it. So what beach then, preferably?
We like Wildwood.
Wildwood.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Super Delco.
No, hey, that's cool. That's cool. I've done some
Yeah.
deals in Wildwood. I like Wildwood.
So
You got your Delco flag on the beach?
Basically. Did you notice the Delco art all over the office? Like out there in the hallway, I had the
Yeah.
same one up in my office.
yeah, I mean,
Delco
I don't know.
pride.
I really think I just like I don't really think there was like a number on it, to be honest with you when I started. Like I just had to feel
Okay.
like fulfilled. To be honest, like I really never in the beginning thought that I would like invest in real estate, even though I was told like, you need to build long-term wealth, passive income, all these things. And I was like, I'm just trying to get through like these like first 15 deals in my first year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I didn't really see that. I just kind of was like, this is something I can actually do to help people and feel really good about it at the end of the day, and also like make as much money as I want to.
Yep.
Where I was stuck in like a job, almost like Brittany was talking about with her husband, and we need those people, but I knew I couldn't be that person forever making that salary and, working like outside of the hours I should even be there because I'm an overachiever. I was like, I can actually go make my own money and be my own boss and all that stuff.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And so probably with just the way that you're wired and your experience like in hospitality, it probably transferred over pretty well to helping people, right?
Yeah, and I'm being just like naturally a go-getter because that job is like you work crazy hours, holidays, weekends, like, so I was like, I'm pretty used to that. So actually people don't really hit me up on holidays now. So that's a perk.
There you go.
They're busy too, so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So as you were growing, and you mentioned even like starting, you had people in your ear like, you should invest in real estate. You need to do that to grow wealth. Like, who was that? Were they brokers, other friends of yours?
I mean,
who was in your ear?
Like the leadership at our office, like, because I
Okay.
started with like a Keller Williams and like, the Red Book and all that. Like they were just trying to teach us about passive income, which is all good. I mean, it's all great advice. And then other realtors would say like, that like how many houses they shoot to buy, like how often they like to buy them, like that kind of things. And I was like, man, like, it seems like a long-term goal to me. Like can't imagine doing any type of investments for a while, but then in walks this one with all her ambitions, God love her. And like, it was really inspiring. I mean, she's got 3 kids, and a husband, like she's got a lot going on, another job. And I'm like, what's my excuse? Like if Brittany can do it, I can help her. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
She's a busy girl.
How old are your kids?
17, 9, and 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Boys, girls?
2 boys and a girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. My 17-year-old, he wants to invest and like flip houses. So he's trying to learn everything he can right now.
How do you think he picked that up?
I think I may have guided him a little bit.
Maybe a little bit.
Well, I just told him, I said, listen, I'm going to show you who's got money in the world. No, I'm kidding. And who's living good lives. No, I'm kidding. But no, he's very hands-on. He's never going to sit behind a desk. So I think that would be good for him, like to learn a trade and, invest. And he likes taking chances. He's definitely, a risk taker.
Okay.
So I think that would, excite him. He wouldn't be bored in life. And that's why. I mean, I'd support him whatever he wanted to do, so long as he was doing something that supported his life.
Love it.
No, but yeah, I think he'll do great. He's a hustler. He works hard, so I think he'll be good at it.
That's very cool. It's something that I think about a lot. I have 3 kids also, right? And my oldest is 11, and she tries to mimic everything I do. Like it's crazy. Like all the time I come home and she's like, hey dad, like I'm making these new stuffed animals and I want to sell them online and I want you to help me set up a store and do all this stuff and everything. And I'm like, that's so cool. She's doing lemonade stands all the time, making like real money, like really doing shit. Like she's a hustler.
Girl.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Tell her she wants to join the homegirls group.
Yes.
For
Yes.
about 10 years or so. Yeah. Or 7 years, really. I mean, she's going to be 18.
But she's got experience though, she's got a good resume.
Probably outwork all of us.
It's funny
That's
though, thinking
awesome.
about it, like she's been on from the time that she was probably 3 or 4 years old, like she was on job sites with me and everything. Like it's the coolest thing looking back at pictures and videos that I have from projects and seeing her growing up like on job sites and everything even, like I was a lot more actively engaged in swinging a hammer on projects years ago than I am now. But it's like so cool that she got exposed to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just funny how much like your kids pick up on, even when it's not something that you talk with them about. Like they just see it, they absorb it, they feel the energy.
Yeah, I think that they feel like how much you love it. You know what I mean? So that's easy to convince somebody else, to do it as well.
Yep, absolutely. So let's talk about the flip. All right.
right.
So you're in the business, you're crushing it, and you come up with this idea, let's flip a house. And literally, I mean, if you said you bought it 4 months after you guys first had this conversation,
No, I think we
really you
bought it,
pulled the
like-
trigger on it like
Yeah.
60 days later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's talk through that. So like after, was it just like a little get together with you guys and you were just hanging out and
I think it was a phone call, right? Or it
I
may
think
have even been a
We
text.
have like very...
okay.
Me, her, and Sam have like a very manic group chat. It's like literally like ideas, like all the time. And it's like over last night I was at dinner with my dad and I had like 48 text messages, like all these voice memos, and I was literally like, guys, holy crap, like calm down.
This is a lot.
Yeah, like
This
I
is
was
a
like, I will
lot.
catch up in the morning. I'm gonna fall asleep. But no,
A
so
lot.
it was probably something like that.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's just a little manic. I mean,
which is fine.
Yeah, I'll forget about it if I don't talk about it right away.
If we don't do it right away, it's probably not gonna happen.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if we don't do it right away, it's probably
Yeah.
never gonna happen. So, but anyway, so we talked about it, we found our cute little name, we established the LLC, and then it was pretty much like a month later you came up with that opportunity and the idea. Ran the comps, we got Lou on board.
Yeah.
Came up with our plan of how we were gonna do it.
I think we were actually like looking at a house with Lou, right?
We did look at one other
we
place.
were looking at a house with Lou.
Yeah.
And then I said, listen, guys, I really think like, we should definitely do this one. And then we went, we went, we saw it, and then we decided to go with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you went through the first time. Did you guys go through it together or?
I went through it with my boy.
Yeah, and we went through again. With the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And was Luce on there?
I think so.
Yeah, so 4 of us.
To get an estimate on
Yeah.
Costs to renovate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
To figure out what
Gotcha.
the numbers
yeah,
really
that was going to
were.
be my next question. Was like, did
Contractor,
you bring
yeah.
multiple people through or just kind of like since he was kind of taking you under his wing, you were just like,
Yeah.
whoever your guys are, that's
Yeah, well, it's actually his son is like his number one guy. His son's got the son.
Yeah.
It's his son's contracting company,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
So, he has all his guys. They like to stay busy, so that's another motivation for them to wanting to help us keep your guys busy.
Absolutely.
It's very important, apparently. So
it is. It
Yeah.
is. It's challenging, right? Like trying to keep schedules and everything together for construction companies. Like, yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So you go through, you get some ideas. Like, did you go in at asking price? I know it was Sam's deal, right? Did you go in at asking price or were you less?
A little less.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think we didn't wind up that much less. Maybe they wanted like 80, I think. I forget.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was
Yeah.
like 80.
but
And we
he's
came in
selling off
pretty
market
close.
and he's
Yeah.
saving on buyer agency commission.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Yeah. And they didn't have to do any repairs or
no
anything.
inspections,
Yeah.
nothing.
You handled everything.
Yep.
Which is, a lot of times why people want to sell off market. For those who don't know, I got like a wrath of something on social media about that the other day. Like, why would anybody ever sell off market? And I'm like, well, there's many reasons why people would
Lots
sell
of
off
reasons.
market.
Oh my God, we
will
can
they
talk about
get
this
more
for
on the
5 hours.
market? Yes, they will
Yeah.
probably get more on the market. I know, right? But
Uh-huh.
anyway, so yeah, we got it for a little bit less, and then once we got in there to listing, it was maybe 45 days. Do you think?
Oh, yeah. From when we went.
Settled to
when we, yeah.
to when
yeah.
it was done?
Less than
45 days.
About that. I'd say less than 6 weeks it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
The length of the renovation.
So what did you project your rehab was going to be before you bought?
30 to 35.
Yeah. 30.
Okay.
And it ended up around 39, just under 39.
Oh, did it? I thought
38.
it was 33 to 35 the last time I looked at it. Oh my god.
Unless it went down. Did he
I
update it?
think
Okay.
so. Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
well,
so.
Well, that's good.
No,
I love
it
when it
was.
goes down.
Yes. No, because
At one point,
so
yeah.
it was. We thought it would be 30 to 35 with the kitchen as well.
Okay.
And then it was up at like close to 39,000, and we're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this is like way. This is.
We ended up not
Even
being
over
able to do
profit.
as much to the
Yeah.
kitchen as we wanted to, and then a couple other minor like cosmetic things we had to put aside for the greater good of all.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And I'm still kind of like frowning about it, but it still looks really nice. I mean, it's just, you can't, if you're over budget, you can't,
Yeah. Yeah, and the kitchen was.
right, Lou?
Yeah, the kitchen was in great shape. Like the cabinets are pretty much
The cabinets,
new.
yeah.
We were just going to do backsplash countertop, and we did do new appliances. But yeah, we had to give up our backsplash and countertop. But it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It worked
What,
out.
what kind of countertops were in there? Just like some sort of Formica?
Yeah,
or
Formica.
something? Okay.
Yeah, and the backsplash isn't bad either. But we wanted like everything new and shiny.
Of course.
Yeah.
And then Lou was kind of shutting us down.
And we're not, please, we're
It's
not
good to have
knocking
that
Lou.
voice of reason.
I know, I know.
Because I'm that way. Like, I
Yeah.
want to over improve everything. Like,
Yeah.
I get out of
Yeah.
the house in a shitty neighborhood and I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, like, we're putting a $10,000 appliance package.
Yeah.
Like, why? Because I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good to have that voice of reason.
Yeah.
for sure. I mean,
And it does look really nice, those hexagonal ceramic backsplash would have looked amazing, but it's okay. It's all right.
yeah. Yeah.
No.
All right, so let's go back, right? So you're doing your initial budget to put everything together. You're figuring you're going to spend 30 to 35 grand. What else was in your mind initially that was going to be included in that 30, 35 grand? You said for the kitchen, you wanted to do granite or quartz or whatever and a backsplash. You wanted to do appliances. What about like flooring?
No, everything else
mechanicals?
Yeah.
stayed on budget.
Yeah, we got the flooring. We were also going to do some wainscoting,
Okay.
some extra stuff.
So you
like-
wanted to do that.
yeah.
And initially when you looked at it, you're like, we should be able to get this all done for 35. 30 to 35.
Yeah. And then I think that there were some plumbing things that had to be taken care of that cost a little bit more, and that's why we had to cut back. That's why that brought that budget up.
Yeah.
Yep.
A little higher than we were originally expecting. And then we had to like figure out like, all right, how are we still gonna,
Yep.
get it to sell for, what we need it to sell for, and where we should be cutting back, to stay within budget and not, go in the negative.
Yeah, no, I definitely want to explore that more because that's one of people's like biggest fear and hesitation, right? Is the unknown, the unexpected and everything, right? So what were like the plumbing issues that you found?
I think all the plumbing in the bathroom just had to be replaced. It was like old. So that increased, the plumbing budget a little bit.
Did you have a plumbing budget initially, or was it kind of just like, oh, we're
No,
spending
I
$5
think
grand on this bathroom
Yeah.
type of deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was a full bathroom.
Yeah.
We were estimating 10 for each bathroom.
Yeah.
Which
Okay,
I
there's
thought
two
was
baths in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 full baths. Yeah, 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths.
Yeah.
And then we did all the flooring new, and we did all the trim was new.
Yeah.
The trim had to go too. Like there's just sometimes it's like
Yeah, that was one of the other things that we
Yeah.
had to add on. I mean,
I guess I don't actually think that we initially like looking at it thought we had to do that, but it
Yeah.
just looked rough.
Yeah.
So
So like everything, like door trim, baseboards,
new
all that.
doors. Yeah.
Okay.
New doors, new fixtures throughout.
Yeah.
Everything, the walls all spackled, repaired, painted. The new kitchen appliances, new hardware for the kitchen, new kitchen faucet, right? Yeah, new kitchen faucet, and 2 new baths, and then plumbing, some electrical stuff that we had to do. We replaced all the outlets. Yeah.
Love it.
That's it.
Love it. So it's like for both of you guys, it's like you already have a shit ton of insider knowledge as to like what a nice house should look like and everything, right? Like,
Yeah.
So you're kind of walking through and you're like, well, yeah, I look at and sell stuff all the time. This isn't acceptable, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That was probably helpful knowing like,
Yeah.
this is what
I
my
would
clients
not-
usually look for.
well,
when I'm-
honestly, this one was like everything was probably original, right? Like except for the kitchen. They had done the kitchen
yeah.
at some point, but both bathrooms were like original
Yeah.
to that place. Like
okay.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything, the walls were like baby pink. I think the carpets were like maroon. It was like our
Beautiful.
parents' house. It's back
Beautiful.
in like the
Yeah.
early
Yeah.
90s. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and then we tried to do it like a little bit more like, I feel like the trends are going more towards like white and like brown flooring, like the wood flooring, like away from the gray. So we wanted it to be like very clean looking, and like actually modern. So
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And like one of the things that one of the things that kind of motivated me to do flips is I've been in so many flips and they're just so bad and like so bad it's unbelievable. And I honestly think it's actually a little criminal because you're destroying properties when we have a property shortage.
yeah.
So
True. That's true. But the perception is they're not being destroyed, right?
yeah. So I just want good work, like to produce like a really good product. I don't necessarily want to hire the cheapest person. Like I'm okay, I'm not going to hire the most expensive person, but I just want somebody who's going to do the job and do it right. And it's not going to look like scary because, I'm sure anybody who has been out house hunting or any realtors, they've been in a lot of these properties and they're just so poorly renovated. And it's a shame because, there's buyers that need homes, and, they'll buy it. And, while it's supposed to be a new product, it winds up you have to still do a lot,
Yep.
So that was one of the things that kind of like, I was like, oh, I can definitely do this. Like if this person is doing this, I can figure this out.
Yeah, like I think actually having working with so many buyers between the two of us too, like knowing what they see and what they look at, definitely has a unique insight. Because I mean, I know from working with investors as clients too, like they'll be like, "Do you think this is a big deal?" And I try to explain like how like the client will look at it or the potential buyer, whoever. So we'll look at that.
Yeah.
And then they obviously make their own decisions.
Right.
So.
But yeah, having that insight is super helpful because a lot of people don't have that knowledge or insight to be able to look at whatever it is that you're doing or improving or trying to make a decision. Does this make sense or doesn't it?
Yeah.
And look at it through the lens of who's actually going to be buying this? Who's going to be living here? Is it going to be a family? Is it going
Right.
to be like,
Yeah.
Right.
somebody with no kids that's going to be like a bachelor? What's their taste like and everything? And actually make all your decisions by reverse engineering the situation.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah, I do that
huge.
with my investors all the time. Like, especially in the city, I feel like there's so many flips. Like, you have to really create a great product if you want it, because city has some inventory. Like, not every neighborhood, but I feel like your product has to have something a little bit extra because you're competing with, other flips in the area as well. And then like also knowing who your potential buyer is and then designing for them, So I think that is definitely like key to like flips is knowing who your potential buyer is so that you can create the product to, suit their needs, Yeah.
Yep.
You're not going to create like a family home in a neighborhood that is not really attracting families to go to. You want to attract. I know like in South Philly, they're turning like a lot of the smaller homes that may be 3 bedrooms, they're turning them into 2 bedrooms, 2 full baths because majority of the people that are moving there are like young professionals. And that's
Yep.
great. Like nobody, that 3rd bedroom really isn't a 3rd bedroom.
Yep.
And why not get
needed,
larger
yeah.
spaces? A lot of times, 2 young people want to come together and, just have larger bedrooms rather than 3 tiny ones. So I feel like that's definitely like a trend in certain areas, which is good and it works,
Yeah, no, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. I want to come back to the flip, but real quick, I want to ask you, like, on the Philly market, what are your overall thoughts on the Philly market right now?
It's very neighborhood based, and it's so crazy because you can't even like generalize it like South Philly in general because South Philly is made up of different neighborhoods
Sure.
or the Northeast in general or West Philly, like there's pockets within. So I feel like we have a lot of inventory in certain areas, not a lot of those areas. Typically, I feel like there's not a lot of good inventory or there's not a lot of inventory that's priced appropriately. Like I
Got
feel
it.
like I have noticed recently, like a lot of things that should be sold to investors are being listed just so high,
high,
and they're
yep.
just sitting and
Yep.
it's increasing our how much inventory we have and days on
impacts
markets when you're
pricing
running
and
stats.
perception.
So like whenever like I've run like a market analysis for like a potential seller or anything, you have to like look at its real comps, not necessarily like the neighborhood. So when I'm trying to give them an estimate of like how many days on market it's going to be, I'm not like just running a generic report and saying like, oh, like the average days on market in this area is 75. I'm pulling out homes that are very similar to theirs. And I'm saying like, okay, like while the other homes are selling, in this many days for whatever, the homes that are similar to yours are actually selling faster. Anything that's nice, like if you have like a really nice home or something that's well kept or just something that is priced properly,
Yep.
it sells.
Yep.
It still sells.
And it always will.
And-
That'll
yeah.
be true in any market at any point in time
And people
for all of eternity.
And people think like, oh my God, the Philly market, nothing's selling. People don't want. No, I have plenty of Philly buyers and have a hard time sometimes finding them something that's nice because anytime that there is something nice up there that is priced properly,
yeah.
it sells
Yep.
immediately. Like we are very limited on good flips and homes that are priced well. And anytime that they come up, they sell,
Yep.
So,
Yep. And that's exactly why I asked, because I don't do a whole lot of deals in Philly. Like
Yeah.
I think in the last couple of years, we may have done a dozen, and it wasn't even from us directly marketing in the city. Most of those deals that we did were from like, we were running TV ads for a while and we got a lot of leads in the city from that, but we've never really done like direct mail or anything in the city.
Yeah.
But the perspective of a bunch of my buyers and other friends of mine that do invest in the city is the city's dead.
Yeah. Well, you You have to buy right.
Right.
You know, if you buy it right, I know plenty of guys who are investing in South Philly. There's some areas that like, you know, they're people really want to be in, but you have to buy it right and you have to produce a good renovation because there's a lot of people doing flips over there. And they're
But it's a tough issue,
doing the
right?
same
Because it all comes down to, like you said, buying right. But how
Yeah.
can you buy right if sellers have an unrealistic perception because they're just looking at what else is on the market and they're like, I should be able to sell this for 200,000. What do you mean you'll only give me 120,000? It's like
You can't.
those aren't selling. They're
No.
they're just sitting there,
No,
right?
yeah, no, it's a huge issue. And like, I used to, I was actually going to make a video on this, but I literally.
Well, you're
hate
doing it
video.
now.
All right. I used to just be like, you know what? Like, at the end of the day, it is up to the seller. Like, I'll list it, whatever you want to list it at. But again, I'm like, you know what? It's a waste of time and it creates a bad relationship because you think I'm not doing my job right. So, I have been like, you know, I just don't want to take every listing because it's going to cost me money. It's going to cost me time. It's not going to go anywhere. And you're going to think I'm bad at my job because of an unrealistic expectation that you may have or whatever. Now, if we can like agree, you know, for me to either understand how you're coming up with your number or you to understand and maybe like meet in the middle. If you want to list 10% over, I'm not against that, but some people are just so off, you know?
Yeah.
I recently lost a listing to that and I was like, I'm always butthurt. I'm like, I'm so mad because somebody else got it. But you know what? Have it because it's
probably the
never
best
going to
thing
sell.
that- yep.
Literally $70,000 over what I had like recommended listing it for. And I'm like,
It's not even worth your time. Yeah.
no. And it does. Like then the person that you're selling it for, you know, thinks that you're not doing a good job.
Yep.
You know, and I'm not if I just let you.
Yeah.
Not that
as much as
let
I
you.
want to tell
Yeah.
you yes, it's like, yeah, but you being my client and me doing a
Right.
good job
Yeah.
sometimes means me telling you no.
Yeah.
Like your perception is not aligned with reality. And let me kind of educate
Yeah.
you as to why.
Yeah, and maybe as a realtor, maybe I'm an idiot for doing that because it is marketing. You know, like I can put my sign up there and all that, and I'll keep my sign in your lawn for 6 years. We'll eventually catch up to the market, and then we'll sell it, and everybody will see my face on your block, and you know,
Yeah.
forever. It's free marketing, but I
think
you
you're
know,
right.
I think it
you're
creates
right in not taking
yeah,
it.
I think
Yeah.
it creates a unsatisfied client, and I think that I would be doing them like an injustice. You know what I mean? I do not tell people like you have to list it here to get this, but like, you know, we have to be somewhere in the ballpark,
Well, I
which
mean-
is the issue with Philly. There is just, you know, the ones that are sitting, they're just way overpriced for their condition or their location.
Yeah.
You know, because the good ones they still sell.
Like, I mean, I get to the point sometimes like listing appointments where I'm like, I have absolutely zero interest in selling your property for less than what you can get for it. Like what it's worth. Seriously. I do have interest in educating you on pricing strategies to help you make the right decision. And you know, like I've gone in on like the lowest and got the listing, but I mean, I was like, I'm not here to like blow smoke up your ass at all.
Right.
That's not my job. My
Yep.
job's to tell you the truth. And help you get the best results.
Yep.
So
So walk me through, because I'm not super familiar with the process that you would go through, like on a listing appointment. Like, what's that normally like? Are you having a lengthy conversation up front before you go on the appointment, or like walk me through like the lead life cycle as it comes in?
honestly, I usually just try to ask them what their motivation is to sell.
Like on the
and-
phone
yeah.
before? Okay.
Yeah, it's usually not really that long of a conversation on the phone. You know, maybe 20 minutes. Just depends on the person, honestly. I'll try to get like a vibe of like their personality too a little bit. It's
Yep.
important. And then when I get in there, I just try to walk them through the property with me, talk to me about what they've done to the property since they've lived there. I mean, this is like another hospitality thing too, but I try to remember the things that they love about it and put that in the description because then they get all excited. And, you know, I'll write things down and then, you know, we'll sit down, we'll look through the comps together. And then I give them like my, you know, listing packet, value proposition, whatever. But honestly, I feel like if the appointment went right, like 80% of the time they're talking and I'm just listening, to be honest with you. So, like one time I had a guy be like, I Googled you before you got here. And I was like, what'd you find? And he was like, I saw that you lift weights. I used to be in powerlifting competitions. So I was like, cool, we could talk about that.
we can definitely
we
talk
talked
about that.
for
That
like
makes
an
life
hour and a
easy.
half. Yeah. And we talked about his listing for like maybe 20 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I'm thinking like this price. And he was like, that sounds good. Like, when can you get pictures? And I'm like, that was literally like what just happened.
Yeah.
So it's just like, Carl, if you see this, hi. But yeah, but no. So yeah, I mean, and they want to be like heard and, you know, all that. They want somebody that they're going to vibe with. So it's like so deep sometimes, but really, honestly, like that, you know, you also want them to believe you too, that you like know what you're doing.
100%.
And also that you care, I think. So I always try to make sure they know all of that a little bit at least.
But a lot of that,
before I
like,
leave.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's funny how much you can convey that you're knowledgeable without even talking about the thing, like the house in this situation, right? It's like just having that conversation about lifting weights for an hour. It's like you connected and conveyed that you're a professional in what you do through that more than you could spewing off stats and comps and market data and everything. Like, nobody gives a shit about that. Like, they care about the relationship side of it. And the people that do just care about the business side of it in its entirety are the people often that are unrealistic. And I have my price, and I'm selling for $470. If you want to list for $400, I'm out.
I'm not a salesperson.
No.
So like I never win those people who
I don't think I do either.
Because they are looking for somebody to sell them something. And I'm not. I'm just trying to connect, help you, educate you.
But see, and I love sales so much. Like, so what you just explained though, like that is sales. You trying to connect and serve and everything like that. That is sales. But sales as a generality gets that like used car salesman and haggling over price and, you know, trying to
sit there until I go through my presentation.
Exactly. It's like, and that's not what sales is. Sales is communication at its core. Right? And if you can effectively connect with somebody in some way, shape, or form, it's like, that's the purest form of sales. Like, everything is sales. Teaching kids, raising kids, you know, having a partner, having a wife, like that's all sales. Like, all that we do all day, every day is sales.
Yeah,
you know,
I guess.
But people look at it from that negative light. Like, if I'm selling somebody something, it's because I'm manipulating them, or you know, I'm trying to win one over on them. It's like, no, sales is just effectively communicating. Here's how I can help you. Here's my values and beliefs, and hopefully they align, and hopefully we have something in common. Cool, we both lift weights. Hell yeah, let's talk about that shit. Because, you know, I already know that you're gonna. I already know that you're gonna take care of this other stuff. That almost doesn't even matter. Mm-hmm. Those are the people that you want to work with.
Well, I mean, and it's also like too, like with our job, like if someone calls me like I want to buy a house, and I try to find out why. Like, I need to know that you're like, if you're seriously trying to buy a house, like, yes, of course I can fulfill that need. Like, sales is something that you do because you're fulfilling someone, like, they have a need for the service or the product or whatever. So, like, if I'm at your house, like, you obviously want to sell it or need to sell it. And it's just, you know, how can I help you achieve your goal and do so in a way that, you know, makes you happy and we can work well together.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. No, I love it. That's awesome. But yeah, I didn't have any like insight into like the listing appointment, like what that looks like. So when you go into that, I know you said you have like a packet that you typically bring or whatever, but do you have like kind of a script or like a framework of here's how I normally do it? Do you walk through the house with them or?
Yeah, I mean, I walk through the house, I put my things down, walk through the house, and then just say, all right, like, yeah, show me around. If I'm going to take some pictures, they're not going to go anywhere.
With them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not going to go anywhere but me. Don't worry. And some video. And like, I'll just start to ask them, like, just as we walk through, just let me know the things that you've done. If anything's broken or not working, things like that. And then after I take my notes and walk through in pictures, then we'll just kind of sit down and talk. About like what they told me or what else I might want to know about the property. And, you know, then maybe go over some of the comps. But my follow-up, I a lot of agents, everybody has a different way. Me personally, I like to go back after I've seen the place in person and look through the comps in finer detail before I give them a price suggestion. And I try to, she's seen my email. I do it and try to do it in a way that anybody would understand. And to be honest with you, sometimes I don't even know the perfect price to go in at until I'm typing it myself, because I'm telling a story and it helps make sense to me. So I'm well, this has to hopefully make sense to them. They're going to get a link with all the pictures. So it's and I feel like people, once they see that, they might be oh yeah, well, she's right, so.
I love that. Expand on that. You're telling a story when you're writing the email.
I'm well, this one was listed at for this price. It sold for this price after this many days. Your property has this, this, and this that this one doesn't have. So this is a case that'll support your value to maybe go list a little bit higher than this one. I always start at the lowest and then work my way to the highest. And I'm maybe your price falls somewhere between comp 3 and 4, something like that.
Okay.
To help them understand.
I love that. I love that. So you do have a framework of how you typically run your sales process.
Yeah. I mean, I want people to understand where I'm coming from. It's an important, it's their investment. It's their money. It's important.
Sure.
And if I could sell it for $1 million, I would. But it might only be worth $250.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Maybe in 2078 it'll be worth $1 million. Who knows?
Hold on long enough. Hold
Yeah.
on long enough. One day. One day. All right, so let's jump back to the flip, right? So you're in there, you budget 30 to 35. I want to focus on the bathroom again, because really that's people's main concern is the unexpected. So you get in there, you're starting to do some demo and everything, right? Because you're not taking out any walls, you're taking out some trim. And did you gut both bathrooms from the start?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So within the first week or so is when you realized there were plumbing issues, unexpected expenses, or was this a couple weeks in?
I did the
Maybe it
demo.
was 2 weeks.
2 weeks in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when that happened, did you just get a quote right away? Or because it was just him running the project, right?
Yeah.
So he
it was just
uses
kind of
this-
hey, look, it's going to cost you an extra.
Well, he uses a system where he plugs in all the numbers, and I guess as they change, he updates them. I forget what it is, but it's really awesome.
Okay.
Build book?
Yeah. Yeah.
Build book.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they take pictures of what they're doing along the way. So you can see. And then,
Yeah, it was really awesome.
yeah.
Communication.
Yeah.
Do you remember his
Builder
company?
Trend, maybe?
No, it's called Build Book, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But what do you remember what his company is called? I feel bad. I didn't give a shout out.
Oh, you got to give a
Just,
shout out.
hold on. Can I get my phone?
Absolutely.
right.
No,
Yeah,
you
we have to
can't.
give a
No.
shout out because
Yeah.
they're very organized and very
Yeah.
professional.
That's
The way,
huge.
it was so easy. Honestly, I felt like I should have been there a lot more. If I swung a hammer or tried to pick up a tool though, it would have looked terrible. So it's for the greater good. But they literally are okay, we need to pick floors up to this price, and
So they just
told us-
gave you
gave us a due
a
date.
allowance.
Yeah,
Okay.
allowance and a due
Good.
date. And me and
Good.
her would literally I remember I was sitting on the porch in Wildwood at my boyfriend's short house, and I was look, do you like these floors? Do you like these floors? Because we had these deadlines to meet, and they were no, we need them by today. And we were ah! So, but anyway, I mean, there was a couple learning curves with the communication, but overall they did a really nice job.
Yeah.
And I'm really sorry. Brittany will figure out the name eventually.
It's okay.
I just
all
text
of this
him
out.
to
I'm
ask
just
him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just cut the whole thing down to 1 minute.
Yeah. Lou Freese Jr. is his name.
Yes.
I don't. Hold on. I'm trying to find
You'll
it.
find it. No big deal.
Yeah. So.
So how much over budget was the plumbing? That?
Hold on. Oh. Captivate Painting and Remodeling.
Boom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Captivate Painting and Remodeling.
Yep.
Do you remember the difference in price? Because I don't. That's terrible that I don't know that.
So, hold on. I think it was
couple
probably
grand.
a couple thousand.
Yeah.
I think around $2,500, $3,000 more, and then a couple other little things that came up, but they were smaller price things. that were just wound up costing a little bit more than we had like expected, but everything else was like pretty on point. Yeah, I think it was just like that they had to like replace all the plumbing in there, and maybe that wasn't really like calculated in at first when we got the quote for that 30 to 35 with the kitchen being included, the countertops and backsplash being included, and then when they gutted out the bathroom, they realized that like really we just
Can't salvage it. Yeah.
yeah, and they replaced the plumbing in there. So I think for both bathrooms it was probably about like $3,000 more.
Okay.
I could look up on Build.
$3,000 each.
Yeah.
$3,000 each,
If that's
or
what
$3,000
it's actually
total?
called, Build Book.
I think it was total. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
not crazy.
Yeah.
Well, still though, thinking about overall, it's still 10% of your budget right there. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's significant. But,
Yeah.
Well,
But that's the shit that happens.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing. That's the thing when you say, I don't really remember how much it costs. It's like with certain things, it matters because you want to be able to look back at historical data and how can we improve and everything. But with stuff like that, there's no way to ever improve on unexpected crap, you know?
No, yeah.
that's why you see these houses listed sometimes like for ridiculous amounts that like you can see that they opened the walls and there was termite damage. Like, well, but you weren't banking on that. And it's like shredded paper in there.
Yep.
And I've had investors try to like consider buying those. And I'm like, I don't know. Like obviously they like realize that there's no way they're going to make it work at this price. But, that's the unexpected stuff this property did, I feel like we knew that it was just like we're like, how bad could it be? It's like a condo, like, I don't know. It was a very safe investment that was probably the worst thing that,
Yeah.
I mean, not the worst thing, like I guess the HVAC or something could have been.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't even like know until I was like, oh my God, why is like the plumbing bill so much? And then it just explained like, well, this is, because when the contractor comes out, like he told us like approximately like how much for each thing due, it would total up to about 30 to 35,000, and then we received it like it was like 38,000, and I was like, wait, how did we get there? And then he like just explained like, well, like I was like, why is the plumbing so high? And he explained like that they had to replace the plumbing, and is what it is, like what are you going to do? And then we just like adjusted like what we were doing to still create a really nice product. We didn't get our wainscoting, but honestly we probably should have never even
Probably
we
not.
really need
That
it for the
falls into the
condo.
category of over improvement for sure. For sure.
It was just a couple little squares. It was nothing crazy.
It was okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
With the cost of trim these days, it probably was crazy. It was probably going to be $1,000 to do one wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like the way that they worked. We understood everything. And I feel like, we stayed on track with, our timeline and everything like that.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I think that's probably rare, and that most people go into this and they like, oh yeah, I'll just find a couple contractors and I'll do this. Like, I think that since we had such a good mentor for this first one, like we might have sidestepped a lot of mistakes. And that was kind of his hope for us. It was like to not have to go through probably some of the things that he's gone through.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. But like a lot of people, I think it's so much easier. Like you really got to trust these contractors. You really that they're going to do good work. They're not going to take a bunch of other jobs and not be able to handle their workload. And then your property's sitting and it's never getting listed. And then all your carry costs. Like there's a lot of things like that people don't realize could happen. So, yeah.
It's the biggest, hardest part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just having guys you can trust that can be reliable, hit a budget, hit a timeline, and communicate. Communicate is one of the biggest things.
Right.
Like I've had a lot of contractors in the past that it's like, yeah, they do great work. They're efficient, but they communicate like shit. It's if you can't answer me and I'm like tracking you down every time that I need to know something, like that doesn't really work either. So it's a delicate balance, but yeah, it is the make or break of everything in the industry, right? So
Yep.
That's
I
good. You
feel like
don't
the-
have a horror story yet. You know
Yeah,
you will.
I'm sure
though,
we will.
right?
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
We will, yeah, but you know,
I mean, it felt like a horror story when we didn't get our backsplash.
yeah.
But it's all right.
If that's your
Sorry.
worst
We were-
horror
yeah.
story, you did.
The worst
okay.
has
Yeah.
happened.
You did okay.
Yeah. Oh God.
No.
But
Yeah,
no.
no. You know what? It was a safe deal. You know, we bought it right. We definitely, yes, we could have piecemealed it together for a lot less money, but we probably would have for
Not
our
sold
first
for
one.
what you did, right?
Well, yeah, and we would have had a lot more headaches as well, which I feel like where we're at right now. Like our first one, we wanted it to be as safe as possible, so didn't really want to piecemeal it together. This guy's done plenty of them. He does good work, and it worked with the numbers, So, yeah, I am just really happy with this one, and I feel like it's a good start. And I don't think we're ever going to have a horror story, honestly. I don't.
Okay. Okay. I'm not even going to knock on wood for you because that's just unrealistic.
I know.
That's crazy.
When we
No,
do,
I
we'll
know.
come back for episode 2.
Yes.
Yeah, that one will be
Yes.
much more interesting.
Oh, we gotta tell you about this horror story.
I know.
Oh man, no,
yeah,
but they it ended up we ended up listing it for 147.9, which is like a random number. But we got 4 offers in less than 3 days.
Yeah.
And the highest was 165. So
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, we were really excited about that. So we're gonna try to reach out to that community to see if we can get some more business in there.
Awesome. I love it.
Maybe another safe one.
Yeah.
On our own this time without as much hand holding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And that's
so,
the plan. Like we'll take the money from this, like our profit, and then we'll reinvest it in the next. And that will, allow us to do this on our own, like have enough money to move forward, just us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. So at 165, do you know how much you should profit at the end of the day after taking all expenses?
Yeah.
And
So I think our profit is around like 38,000, and then we're going to split that, right, with
with
our
me?
partner.
That's so
yeah,
nice
with
of you guys.
with our partner.
No,
So-
yeah, well,
Was it?
no,
Is it
it's
38?
No, it's like we would each partner, all 4 of us would walk away with 8 at the 30 or at
Yeah.
165
Yeah.
profit. So each
Oh, it's
company
32?
each company should be making around 16. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on 38. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
glad I can
If-
help you
yeah.
figure it all out
I
here.
was
We're
like,
still
oh.
under contract, so everybody say a prayer for our appraisal
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Which isn't bad. I mean,
No, that's a win.
we both only put 10 in, so that's not bad. We turned
hell
our
of a win.
10 to 18 in
Absolutely.
2 months. So, yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I would have liked to do more like banging the hammer stuff, but
Okay.
I really don't know how to, so I
her, not me. Yeah. I'm calling my boyfriend who's
I was even-
contractor. I'm like, you think I
Swinging
can do
the
a
hammer is my
backsplash?
thing.
He's like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Stay away from the kitchen. Do
Yeah.
not hurt yourself. I'm like, okay. Thanks for talking me off the ledge. Because this one thinks we can do it. She's like, how hard could it be? You cut some time.
Yeah.
You put it up there.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
we
you're
could
right,
definitely
Britt,
do
we
it.
could Maybe one day. Not this time.
No.
No.
No, the next one.
Yeah.
Next
So
one.
you'll just learn. Like my wife knows that that's the way to get me to do a project is she goes and starts it, and then I'm gonna be like, oh my God, no. Like, all right, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll finish it. Just walk away.
So she's handy.
No, well, I shouldn't say that she's not because she is. She is more than most women, but she also knows that I have OCD like a motherfucker. So like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna push you out
Yeah.
of the way, and I'll do
Yeah.
it. I'll do it.
Yeah. That's good. Communication.
Absolutely, that's what it's all about. That's what
All
it's
right, well, if
about.
you're not going to go do it, I'm going to go over there with my toolkit.
Yep. But no, actually, when we moved to our house that we live in now in Westchester, I bought that, and it's probably like the worst deal that I ever bought. Like, because I buy everything at a discount. I didn't buy this at a discount, but we bought it. We moved in, and she was pregnant with our middle child, who's now turning 6. Yeah, 6. And like I gutted the entire place while she's like 8 months pregnant. And we already have one child. So it's like me, her, our 5-year-old, and she's 8 or 9 months pregnant, whole gutted house. We're living in one room in there and everything. And like, yeah, I still remember like her painting while she had, like after she had McKenna, she's like got McKenna in like a sling and she's like painting and everything. I'm like, you're a gangster. You're a gangster.
She is. She's a badass bitch.
Super cool. Super cool.
She's doing it.
So what's next? You get this done. You said ideally you would like to buy something else in that same development.
Yeah, that would be, we're hoping that we can leverage that it did very well and that some other people will be interested. So I try to reach out to that community.
Love it.
And just really keep an eye out for any other deals that we might come across. Definitely try to get Sam involved because we want her to be a part of it. And yeah. Just
So wherever the deal
makes
is,
sense.
Yeah.
And
the
probably
money's right.
try to get a little bit riskier with them as the time goes along,
Yeah.
But
When you say riskier, what do you mean?
well, like the first thing we walked into was that Glen Olden twin, and it looked like it had been sitting there for a really long time, and like it was a full gut. So not that I don't think that we could do that, but I would like to do a couple quicker things to be able to build our budget up a little bit more before
Sure.
we start to get into ones that are going to take longer and have more potential underlying issues.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know it might not be like the fastest process, but I mean, I'm okay with that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. No. I feel like like we were kind of a little nervous about doing like complete guts, like taking it down to the studs and doing all new plumbing, electric, dealing with permits for everything under the sun and just longer timelines. Like we kind of wanted quicker timelines, get our money back, and some more like cosmetic things like whatever, the HVAC has to be replaced, replace it. Like that's not the end of the world if the electric does, but like just not completely doing like a huge project that's going to take 6 to 9 months.
Yep.
At this point, I think we would like to keep our budgets where we're comfortable at.
Yep.
And stay within that, and then find, obviously the best, safest next flip.
Yeah, we're hoping to also see if we can bring like a couple different contractors that we have in mind through us with a couple of tours, maybe for the next one or two.
Yeah.
When we see the
Yeah.
property, just like we did for this first one, because I think it's helpful. I mean, like I think we both come up with like these numbers in our head, and it's only solely based upon walking through with other investors. And I'm like, oh, that's like a $80,000, that's $100,000, or that's this, and I'm like, how do I even actually know like where any of those numbers are coming from?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be able to understand that kind of stuff too,
Yeah.
in more detail.
Yep. And that is the only way to understand, because it's like still I have at least one debate every week with somebody on values and ARV and cost of renovations. It's like for a while with the wholesale company, like we would always put out our opinion of ARV and we would put out our opinion of rehab and everything. And it's like the reason that I could do that even somewhat effectively and better than most other wholesalers is just pull numbers out of their ass is because I had been doing it for years. Most wholesalers, that's their entry into the real estate world. They've never flipped a house. They've never bought a rental. They've never swung a hammer. They don't even know anything about construction, and they're making up numbers. So it's like, all right, at least there was substance behind our numbers.
Yeah.
But I learned over the years that it really doesn't fucking matter anyway, because you may have a contractor that, his numbers are solid and you know that it's going to be an $80,000 rehab. But there's so many other things that go into that, right? It's like that's your guy and that's your vision of what you're going to do material-wise. Maybe you have a discount, tile vendor or something, right?
Yeah.
So those are your numbers and yours may be totally freaking different
Yeah.
for a laundry list of reasons, right? First one could just be, vision, like talking about our boy Evan, right? Like what was his perspective of that one that you bought?
Oh,
I'm sure he wasn't going to spend 30 or 35, right?
I have no idea.
Oh, you didn't even get to that point with him? Okay.
No, he's not my client. No.
Oh, okay.
He, I was just showing him, like, you know what I mean? Taking him through for someone. So yeah,
Gotcha.
for Sam. So
Gotcha.
I don't know what he would have spent.
But
on
he's
it,
a perfect
honestly.
example because like he's doing his thing and he's crushing it and everything.
Yeah.
But like I was always on the other end of the spectrum. I over improve shit at a lot of times at the cost of my own profit, right? It's
Right.
like for
Yeah.
the longest time I would have, I guess, let my ego get in the way and be like, I would rather have a beautiful property that I don't make any money on, but you know, I can proudly put my name on it. Then you realize it's like, okay, well, there's a blend.
Yeah,
you know,
you're not going
it's
to go
got to
through
be
all
a
those headaches
profitable
for no
business
money.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We definitely want them to be nice, like just good quality work, but it doesn't have to
Yeah.
necessarily be the most expensive materials.
Yep.
Depending on like what the comps in the area are suggesting, like I don't know, $300,000 house in this town looks like, and that's what we're shooting our ARV to be. You
Yep.
know, like let's look at those pictures and do what they did,
Yep.
basically.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's massive.
And I think like moving forward, you know, like this one we had Lou and his company, which was absolutely great, but obviously they have their own flips, they have their own clients. So you know, we hope to like be able to use them in the future for everything, but you know how it is, like not everybody's always available
Sure.
or whatever. So we're gonna like try and like, you know, build kind of like how he has, like build our own team of contractors, you know, who this way we can continuously like do work with them so that we can get good deals and know what their service is like, what, you know, how they do the work, like what their final product looks like, you know, what to expect with them.
Yep.
So I think like the next one, like she was saying, we're going to like really just bring a couple different like contractors through, and, you know, the contractor may not be doing the whole project. It may be like a different person, you know, like a tile guy, a floor guy, a painter, you know, and piecing it together ourselves to be able to, you know, do nicer renovations and have more profit so that we can like scale and, you know, build our own team.
That's how you
as
learn.
well.
That's how you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you grow.
Yeah.
And it goes to the same philosophy of not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? It's like it's wonderful to have friends, even if they run a full service GC company and everything. But like you said, if they get too busy or whatever, it's like, oh, well, crap, now I bought this property and you're my buddy and you're telling me you can't get to it for 60 days. And it's like, dude, that 60 days is going to cost me like
Right.
$5,000 in carrying
Yeah.
costs and everything else. Like, ew, I need
And
to,
you don't want
I need to
to
have
pass up on
options.
a
Yeah.
deal because, you know, you're so stuck to one person. Like, so. Yeah.
Even if like you're ordering materials and they're like they're almost done, ready to move on to that thing, and what you're trying to order isn't going to be there, you know, and they need to
Schedules are
move
tough,
on.
yeah.
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 So just keeping that kind of stuff in mind, I think, is important.
Yep.
Yeah, we're excited, but
Yeah.
you know,
So only in Delco right now, or Philly is like on the
would do
list?
Philly.
Or
Yeah. Yeah.
the Wild Wild
would-
West,
I would
no
love
permits.
to do like Lower Moymentsing, Passyunk, Pensport, where else? You know, like neighborhoods that I am, you know, there's not too much, like too many flips happening. Like, you know, I feel like there was time like a ton of people just invested in Point Breeze, and then, you know, there's all the same home all over the place, and I don't want that. So, you know, those are areas in South Philly that I like. So if I come across anything, but then again, at the end of the day, if something comes up in Point Breeze as like a really great deal and it works,
Yeah.
it works.
if it
You
makes
know?
money, it makes sense.
Yeah, I just find it like everything's, you know, it's hard to find those deals, but you're an expert at that, so hopefully you can find us our next
maybe
deal.
I can help you guys
Yeah,
out too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's why it's great coming together and seeing like what everybody's goals are, what their vision is, how can everybody help each other,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, that's why I love talking about the sales stuff. I love talking about the marketing stuff and everything. And some of it is never going to translate from like the wholesale investment side to the agent side and vice versa and everything.
Yeah.
But it's like being able to pick up on little things. Like some of the most valuable stuff that I put into place in my business today didn't come from other people in even the real estate industry. You know, it's like
Yeah.
other people that run other
businesses.
businesses that
Yeah.
have like just different
Yeah.
practices or procedures or the way that they handle their hiring or internal processes or whatever. And it's like,
Yeah.
you can learn a lot of things from other people if you just shut the fuck up and listen. But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't want to listen to anybody, you know? So
It's all right, puts you ahead of the game if you're willing to. You
that's
know?
it. That's it. So looking for your next flip, anything that you think about rentals? Yeah, I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, so I hope to buy one rental a year.
Starting when?
But starting once I have enough money to do so. So that's, I would like to use the money from the flips. Keep scaling the flips for sure. I definitely like it. I enjoy the process, all that. But then if something comes up that makes sense in areas that I'm interested in having rentals, definitely open to it. I would like for my rentals to own them on my own, because they're long-term investments.
Yep.
So, I'm just trying to build up some capital to get them. I'm a little torn about taking equity out of my home, or I don't know if I want to. I mean, I can if it's a great deal, so that may be like an option, but it would definitely have to be like something I really want, really solid, because I'm like, while I am a risk taker, I don't like to mess with like my family residence.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with
You never
them.
know.
Yep.
So,
Especially when there's other ways. There's other ways.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just trying to, save up some money to do that as well. We'll probably be moving, into the suburbs soon. So we'll turn this property into a rental, and then I'll have like, equity from this house, which won't be my primary residence anymore. And I can use that to like leverage rentals or other flips or whatever, and then keep scaling that way.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But we'll get there.
That's awesome.
Get there.
Yeah, it's. I know too many people that like they want to start in rentals first, and for some people, like if you have a really high active income in your job, you're a dentist, you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, whatever, and you just need to park money, like that's fine. But most people that I talk with on a daily or weekly basis, it's like they make the average like median salary or whatever, and they're like, yeah, I want to start buying rentals. I want to buy 2 a year. I want to buy 3 a year. And it's like, I can't say that that's the best idea, It's like, and it can work for people, and it has in the past and everything. But like my perspective, my philosophy has always been like the best way to grow passive income, which I could talk about that for hours with rentals. It's not freaking passive. But the best way to grow passive income and wealth is by having a fucking massive active income. Sell 100 houses a year. You're going to have so much freaking active income that you're like, yeah, I don't even care if the rentals that I'm buying have a bunch of equity and I'm, going to be able to capitalize on it from every which way. I just need the freaking tax benefits of it. It's like, that's when you're in a good spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good point.
That's where we plan on being in 2 years. Okay. So
No, I love it. I love it. That's fantastic.
we're gonna have so much income that we'll need it. And now, so
Going to keep going, keep
Just
growing.
want to take over the world. It's really not that much to ask, we'll see what
not that
happens.
much to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love real estate. Like I love working with sellers and buyers. Maybe some investors, not all.
I get it. It's different.
Yeah. What's crazy? I thought I wanted to work with investors, and I swear to God, the universe heard me, and then it sent me all the investors. And I am just like, I actually really love buyers and sellers. Like I like investors, I do. But, I will not sell somebody something that I don't believe in, so it takes time. It's not like, I won't sell somebody something that I don't think that works or something that I wouldn't do myself,
I get it.
So I will probably never get rich, like, or have a lot of sales with investors. Cause as you know, like deals are out there, but they're not abundant. There's a lot out there that doesn't make sense. So, I spend a ton of time with investors, and I hope to be able to put some systems in place that help me, so that I can still like take on more and new investors and be able to find them properties. But, everybody wants something like now. And I'm like, but we're not.
I mean, I hope that we get to the point where people know that we're doing this, that they'll like send us things and it doesn't work for us, so we can connect another investor that
Absolutely.
we,
Yep.
and we're just helping them list and get that done for them.
Yeah.
So it's only going to help that part of our businesses for sure. Because I'm struggling right now with my investors. I feel bad. But.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's actually a good thing because, like, you know, we're not trying to sell them anything that doesn't work, you know.
No.
Yep.
But it is just
That's probably why I don't sell them enough.
I know. That's why I'm like,
so
I'm like,
honest
oh my
with them,
God,
like-
what did
No,
I
that's
do?
good.
Like,
Yeah.
That's good.
literally, like, I worked like a year with one guy, like, showed him so many homes I sold 15 other homes to find one that like worked, and then, you know, but you know why, it was a great investment, and he's happy, so now I'm happy.
Yeah.
But it was a long journey. I was like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah, that's
my
tough.
God.
You can't do that at scale. It's not fruitful, and yeah, you're just going to get frustrated and burn out in the
Yeah.
process. If you tried to do that with 5 people a year, like
Yeah.
you'd want to rip your hair out.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
Yeah.
like my 2 cents on that would be if that is your perspective, like with a couple investor buyers you've had recently, I would guess that they've done under 3 deals.
Yeah. No, so no.
No?
No. 2 of them do have like a lot, but I haven't done anything. But the one that I was talking about, yes, he's like a new investor. Yeah. But the other 2, no, but they just messaged me. They're like, why aren't you sending me deals? I'm like, because I haven't seen any
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, but
I
That's
think-
where a lot
but
of it
then
comes down to like
yeah.
having a clear understanding of what
Right.
somebody's looking for. And that's the thing, like years ago when I first started the wholesale company, like what I would do, anybody told me that they wanted to be on our list or whatever, I would literally hop on like a 45-minute call with people. And it's like, all right, tell me, what are you looking to buy? Where are you looking to buy? And overall, what are you trying to do? You know, I want to understand. And that conversation was literally the same with the first 100 people that I spoke with, to the point that I'm like, all right, I need to change the way that I'm asking this, because if you ask in a certain way, you're going to get the same answer from everybody. I want to buy shit for 50 cents on the dollar that needs just paint and carpet that I can make $70,000 on. It's like, cool, dude, that's what everybody wants.
Yeah.
But what will you actually
Do,
Don't tell me
yeah.
about the unicorn that maybe you did one deal like that in your life.
Yeah.
And if
Right.
that's what you're looking for, you're never going to do another deal again, man.
Yeah.
Like, tell me, what is your bottom line? Like, you know,
Yeah.
and getting more clear with people and their expectations has been super, super helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because then if you really understand what somebody's looking for, it makes your life a hell of a lot easier. And
To find it. Yeah.
yep. There's stuff out there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things that I stopped doing too, was like looking at deals from my perspective, from my lens. Cause like I said, it's like, I know my numbers. I know what my vision is of this house and what I would do with it and everything, but it's dumb to project that onto you. Maybe you have a totally different vision and, you know, I want to rip the roof off and do this thing. And you're like, no, I just want to make it like, you know, make the kitchen and bathroom pretty and I'll be able to make $30,000-$40,000. Like,
Yeah.
so projecting your vision onto somebody else's deal is a shitty way to do things too. So
Yeah,
Right.
I think the thing with my investors, they're not really from the area, and you know, there's a lot of talk like there's so much money to be made in Philly, and there is, but we're not buying properties for 50 grand, putting 50 grand in, and making 100.
yeah.
If we are, who you know, that's like maybe like you'll come across like 1 or 2, but. You know, I don't know. Sometimes there's just like unrealistic expectations, or people listen to like the perfect story, but
Yep.
it's not everyone. So
It's the truth. It's the truth. So where can people find you guys?
Like for real estate needs or
Yeah,
okay.
if somebody wants to reach out, they want to buy a house, sell a house, whatever.
Well, you can go on my website, homewithcourtney.net. Brittany, what's yours? You have one?
urbanhousefittersphilly.com. Or
Yeah.
you can just like reach me on Instagram at Urban House Fitters Philly, or on Facebook, same website, or just Brittany Christinzio. I use that Facebook the most. Or you can call me at 267-269-9951 or text me. That's probably like the best way to get in contact with me. So
Boom.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a phone number too, but you're probably not going to remember it. So just Google Courtney Dampman Realtor.
You're Googleable.
Yeah, I'm very Googleable. Yeah. Check out my reviews and hope to help you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, guys, talking about everything. And
Thanks for
hope to
having
have
us.
you back as soon as you have some contractor horror stories.
Yeah.
All right.
As much as you don't want them, you will.
No.
We'll let
not
you know.
happening.
Pray that we don't, but we'll be back. Thanks so much
Yeah.
for having
Love it.
us.
Thanks so much,
Thank
guys.
you.